Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Oasis.
The entertainment Oasis.
So, we saw a movie this past weekend.
We did.
Yeah.
The movie, this guy was all like, oh my gosh, we gotta go watch it.
Yeah.
So good.
Hell yeah.
Which one did we go watch?
So, we saw Dune. D-U-N-E.
Dune.
Came out actually this past Thursday.
Yeah.
And yes, it was one of the few movies that I was very excited to see in theaters. Saw the previews, it looked good. I also heard a lot about the book beforehand. The book's old, it's been out for decades. Apparently there's an old movie too about it, which I didn't even know.
I haven't seen.
I haven't seen that either. I heard it wasn't that good though, that the books were a lot better. So yeah, we went to go see it and I was not disappointed.
No,
I was not disappointed by any means. That being said, I can see how it can't be for everybody. But as far as I go with like science fiction and fantasy, like it basically checked off every box for me as far as like what I look for in those types of movies. So I really enjoyed it.
There's a lot of talking, which
Yes.
I love. A lot of exposition.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had a friend who wasn't a big fan of that. For me, that's just like,
Yeah.
that's perfection.
Yeah.
I love those, like, and the fact that it's a slow burn kind of movie is even
Right.
better. It doesn't jump into the action right
It doesn't,
away.
no, by any means.
And when it does give you action, there's a really good cool off period where it's like, okay, well, it's back to like talking. And,
Yeah.
But all that talking is just so interesting, so intriguing,
Yep.
What do you call that type of thing? Like, there's a lot of political.
There's a lot of politics
Yeah.
that go into it. One thing that I really enjoyed about the movie is, so I'm a huge gamer. I love video games, and one of the genres that I really like are just, Space Odyssey games.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminded me of. I'm actually playing one called The Outer Worlds right now, where you can kind of go and visit other planets, other stuff. So I like Space Odyssey stuff, sci-fis, and this one just reminded me of if we ever got to the point where we do eventually, colonize other planets or other moons or something like that. It's gonna be like that, whether we like it or not. I mean, we inhabit a moon far away or another planet far away, and it's gonna develop its own government, it's gonna develop its own politics, its own culture, and eventually it's not all the interests of that entity isn't always going to agree with the other world, so you kind of have to like I said, deal with I guess all the differences between different worlds and different peoples, and I think the movie captured like that's kind of how it would be.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting.
I love the world building in this movie. It doesn't rush. At least in my opinion, it didn't rush the whole, like, this is everything you need to know. It's like, no, and I guess that's part of the reason why I like it. It's such a long movie. It's, I feel like everything is given to you, at a decent pace. You're not being force-fed all this information, at once. And you're like, wait, what? It's like,
Yeah.
what's going on? But it's cool. Like, we got to learn about House Atreides at the start. We found out, like, later on we find out why the Emperor sent them to that planet. What's the name of the planet? Starts with a name.
See, yeah,
the sand planet. The sand planet where the story revolves
right.
around.
They want to harness desert power. Is what his dad was mentioning.
But it's cool though. Like,
there's a lot of names to remember, a lot of different planets, different factions and titles, and it was a lot of information.
The only ones you gotta remember are Paul, because he's the main character.
Yeah.
Then was it Chidea? I forget the name. The one that Zendaya's playing. The one that doesn't really come out that much other than like in flashbacks. And spoilers, of course, because.
Yeah, this is always spoilers.
And at the end of the movie for like a bit.
In his dreams. And that's one thing that was a little kind of, how do I put this? In a way, it was misleading because they show that girl a lot in the previews.
I mean, honestly, she didn't play.
But she didn't. But in this movie, like, she didn't come out till the end. But you see her a lot in these guys' visions and dreams and stuff. So I'm not saying she got very little screen time, but her actual character wasn't introduced until way later.
Yeah.
And you can tell that she's going to be a major character, major factor in the second movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then you have Paul. I forget Zendaya's character's name.
His mom.
Jessica, and then his dad was it Duke Leto. Atreides. Duncan, which is Jason Momoa's character, like a pilot slash like
fighter,
big brother to Paul. But yeah, and then there's the one guy played by Josh Brolin. I mean, he's not a main character, I guess, but he's there. I don't know his name, or maybe I do, but I forget it.
He was the dad's like right hand man, right?
Yeah. Or at least his most trusted,
most loyal fighter, general type thing. And then there was the main villain, the bald guy that was always levitating, and
that guy was creepy.
Who was somehow just everybody feared him, like.
Yeah,
he was just weird.
Yeah, he was very weird. But the movie I don't know, just so many great things about the movie from them like starting to explain like Paul's power. What he can do with his voice, and the mom kind of trains him, and as the movie progresses, he learns to wield it a little better. I mean, what I did like is by the end of the movie, he's not an expert at using it. He just what do you call it? He's
like the opposite of Rey from Star Wars. How she was just like a master at the Force, like out of nowhere.
No, this was
the opposite.
This guy's still trash.
This guy was the opposite. He was barely able to like do one successful act at the end, and that was all.
And the ability he has is to like command people to do stuff for him. So it's like, do that, like take off her, like I think he just like
take off her
whatever was gagging her, like the mom. So that's the only thing he managed to do is like get one of the guards to like remove the cover over his mom's mouth, and then she took it over from there, and then she showed him how it was really done. And I was like, and I thought that was a pretty cool scene,
Yeah.
Seeing that power in action.
Yeah, and you get a glimpse of how powerful it can be. And it's at some point he's gonna learn how to control it
but not in this movie.
And then he's just gonna be super OP.
And it'd be cool if he even by the end of the series, if he still didn't master it and he's still not that great. I feel like that'll make it a little more believable, especially because he is a very capable fighter, like in hand-to-hand combat. So I feel like for him, I think it would just make him very OP if he could just command people with.
Well, especially right off the bat, like at the start of the movie.
Yeah, but...
that kid, the main character, is in a really like he's in a very high privileged position, but also in like a very like awkward one, because as the leader of the mom's faction of the voice controlling people, she told him like you have two birthrights, One, you're the Duke's son, which you're basically the leader of your
like the heir to
the leader
House
of your
Atreides.
colony, the heir of the colony. And then what was the term that was used that he may be like the chosen one of the?
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
Honestly, it's not even an English word, so I'm not even gonna.
It's some weird like made up language. I can't remember what the title was, but to long story short. The mom's clan or whatever, I think it's very matriarch based. There's a lot, like
it's all women. He's gonna be the first male to possess that ability, I think.
I think that's how it works, because like she mentioned something like you taught him the way, and your birth was wasted on a male, which is one of two things. One, I'm not sure if like only females inherit it, or males are not, like maybe they can learn it, but they're just not as good as females, with the exception of like the chosen one, which is supposed to be like this almighty, like strong one who's supposed to be male, right? Yeah. So it's like they have a suspicion that he may be that person, but I don't know.
The main thing they want him for is to be that bridge between the current time and then the future. Mm-hmm. Like they want him to be that bridge so that they can mold the world or the universe into a better place.
Right.
Because this society, I forget the name, the society that Jessica, the mother, belongs to, it's essentially like a shadow organization that is actually is really in control. They make events happen to suit what it is they need. for the world, like in the world. So they're the puppeteers of everything that's going on in the universe. Like everything major that happens probably has their fingerprints all over it. So
Right.
they are the ones who are molding everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're also like a shadow organization that like people hire just to kind of maybe do their dirty work. Like if you need, I don't know about dirty work, but
I feel like
I don't know. It's
because what their goal is, I just don't feel like they would be that type of organization where people can hire. If anything, I feel like they're the ones in the position of power where people might approach. I don't know, like
the only reason
like they might approach people to get their stuff done. It's like, hey, I need this to happen, and I've chosen you to do it. And I don't know, maybe the fact that organization is just so well established, so high up, yeah, lesser people or lesser organizations would be like, yeah, okay, I will do your bidding. So I feel like they're the ones more or less getting people to do their bidding and not the other way around.
The only reason I mentioned like the whole dirty work thing is because she did hold counsel with the evil guy.
Yeah.
And she warned him like, hey, don't do this or whatever.
But what was she there to do? It's like she was there letting him know, I need you to do this. Well, even though it was a direct order from the Emperor, I think. Like,
yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think she was just there doing the Emperor's bidding. But then she told us like, you can't touch the son, you can't touch his mother. They're under our protection. And to an extent, he was truthful to his word. He did not kill them.
He did not, but at the same time, like, if what you say is true, like, they're the ones, like, telling people what to do or whatever, they didn't really seem to hold that much weight to that guy, because he's like, okay, fine, we won't, but we're gonna kill everybody else, so, I don't know, I feel like they may have worked together in the past on some stuff, or the fact that guy can like also levitate and stuff, like what is that guy's deal? They didn't explain anything about that guy or his like people.
I'm assuming his house is maybe bitter rivals with House Atreides. That is what they're called, House Atreides, right?
Well, the fact that they just completely sneak attacked him, like. Yeah, they're not on good terms.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he only did it because the Emperor ordered it. And I mean, I guess they already had a lot of hostility towards one another that they were like...
They were happy to do it. They were happy to do it.
Yeah. Which did lead to a really spectacular fight.
That was one of the best parts of the movies. Oh, man. Yeah. It's like... I don't know, like you have to like look at it like in a macro scale. Like this faction... sent, I guess their warriors or their battalion to another planet, a desert planet, where their rival is trying to work out a deal with the people of that planet for like a spice trading thing, like to I guess have their, because there's like a special spice on that
coexist. Like in a sense.
But also there's like a very valuable spice that goes on in that is a part of that desert planet or that world or whatever, and I think he was sent there to make that production more lucrative or that deal more lucrative, and also he gained the dominion over that planet by decree of the Emperor, but it ended up being a trap. Instead, it wasn't true. The Emperor sent them there to kill them, to wipe them out, by using that other guy's battalion in that desert world. Like, just think about all that like that's being orchestrated like by different factions from different planets or moons. Like that. See, that's the kind of stuff I like.
And the kind of cool thing is that they imply like there's other houses too.
Right.
And then we like in this movie we've only seen 2 houses, so that kind of gets me excited to see the other houses and like what kind of people they are. Well, it was 3, wasn't it? Did they ever say how many houses there were in the?
Well, they showed 3 because there was the bad one, then Atreides, and then the mom's house.
No, but I'm pretty sure there's others because when
that's the 3 that they showed though.
Or I think the dad, the Duke, might have been talking. I think that he was talking to someone, or it might have been Paul who was talking. But they were mentioning like how there's a chance that I guess they want to do it in a way where they don't kind of tip off the other houses to what potentially could be going on, and that the emperor kind of like, essentially ordered House Atreides to be wiped out, because then at that point there is going to be there might be a full revolt from all the houses banding together against it, especially because at that point you realize the emperor has no regard for you. It's like if the whim strikes him, he'll erase you out of the universe.
And in my understanding, the reasoning behind it was, I think he feared that their house was getting too strong.
Too strong, yeah.
Their house was getting too strong, too influential. I think the dad even mentioned that we already control, was it sky power and earth power, and now we want to control desert power, or something like that. We want to harness the power of the desert.
I don't remember that.
So he mentioned something to that effect, and I think that just kind of goes to show that like how big their influence was. And it's one of those things like the emperor was thinking, now they're gonna have influence with the desert planet too, or was it a moon? It might have been a moon.
No, I think it's an actual planet.
Okay, it was a planet. But yeah, so that was their reasoning as to why they wanted them wiped out, and they chose a battalion. It's like, yeah, we'll do it. We hate these guys.
Yeah. I forget what that guy's house is.
I forgot too.
What the name of his house is. I'm very bad with the names in some movies, but yeah, and just once they get to that desert planet, the whole world itself, it just seems miserable.
Yeah.
It's just heat, and you have these massive worms that just
sandworms,
and not like the cutesy ones like in Beetlejuice. These are massive, and
apparently they are 400 meters in length.
Yeah.
And that's just their length. They didn't mention like how just big they are like width-wise, but those things can basically swallow a giant tank.
Yeah, and the technology of the world is pretty cool too.
Pretty advanced, yeah.
For sand people, I guess in order to survive, they needed to develop a suit that just repurposed. Because that's what they are. They are sand people.
The people of the desert.
Desert people, okay. Desert people. But yeah, they've created these suits that just repurpose like all the liquid that your body releases, and it turns into like drinking water, and then as long as you're wearing the suit, and then
sweat and tears,
and
apparently.
I think urine too.
They didn't mention urine.
I think they did.
Okay, well.
I think they did. Like every fluid, everything repurposed.
And they say like you'll lose nothing but 1 thimble of water a day with this suit if you keep like just drinking what it's recycling.
And they look pretty cool. At first I thought they were like combat suits because they look very like
I think they can kind of be used as some too. Speaking of combat suits, the suits also have like that shield.
Yeah. Not the desert people's
but
suits,
House Atreides.
House Atreides.
That was really cool. So like pretty much they activate a mode in the suit that acts as a shield. But depending on the impact of what's received, it'll turn blue, like not that big a deal, and it'll turn red if the armor's getting penetrated.
Yeah.
And it's like this invisible armor.
Which I guess is cool if they shoot you from face to face, because then you can just like grab the bullet and like
Yeah.
But if you shoot you through the back, you're gonna be like, where? Where is it? And then no, it's gonna get you. It's still really cool, like a really cool piece of technology that they have at their disposal.
Yeah, but I think it also shows like if with enough force, it'll just completely bypass it. Yeah.
Man, so much cool stuff that came out in the movie. We have these little, I guess, airships that'll lock on to those heavy pieces of machinery that collect all the spice in the desert. And so it'll lock onto it, and I guess it releases some air balloons or something to that effect, and it just lifts the thing up, and then it just hauls it to wherever it needs to be, like safe. But they usually use that to haul those things to safety when a sandworm is coming.
Right.
And apparently it happens all the time. So making sure your equipment is in tip-top shape is crucial in that world.
And the one time that the dad was there and they were extracting some spice, there was a malfunction, and he right there he had a suspicion that this was a setup.
And the cool thing is that it kind of shows you what kind of leader he was.
Boy, was he right.
Like this guy just, he's the lead of House Atreides, and here he is, just like he lands those things, and you know, the sandworm's coming and puts himself in danger just to save, you know, and they weren't even his people, which is weird.
He had just gotten dominion over them.
I guess, yeah.
He had just gotten dominion over the entire planet, which the locals weren't happy about at first, but he kind of showed them that, like, you know, your people will prosper, they'll never be hunted, they'll never be, you know, in danger as long as I'm in charge. And that kind of eased the locals, like that one guy, that kind of eased, like, it's gracious of you, but then he just walks away. He's like, cool, but this is still our planet, type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, I know we've been talking so much great stuff about the movie, because it is great, but like all movies, they have the things that aren't so great. And I think I only had two. One of them was how silly the voice sounds, like that voice technique that...
Oh!
It's like, it just sounds like...
Okay.
I don't know.
That's small, though.
It
but
sounds
yeah.
so cartoony. So that one's just like a little gripe. But what I did have a problem with was when Duncan, Jason Momoa's character, comes to greet them, House Atreides, after having spent time with the desert people. He's meeting with the Duke, and he tells them, like, oh yeah, these I think it's the Duke, or it could have been Paul. He's telling, but he was saying how these people are beasts, and when they fight, and I think he alludes to the fact that, you know, he almost maybe didn't make it when he first encountered them. And so in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, okay, so these people are the real deal. They're savages.
They're fighters, yeah.
And then that's where you meet the leader of the desert people. And he walks in, and at first I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. So maybe this is the guy that Duncan almost got murdered by. And later on in the movie, and spoiler, I know we already said spoiler alert earlier, but when everything crumbles and Jessica and Paul find themselves in the desert trying to find the desert people, they find them, and they're trying to think of what to do with the mom, they're thinking about killing the mom but keeping the kid, saying that the kid has potential to learn their ways. And so the main guy, the one that goes to meet the Duke, and the mom, Jessica, they end up fighting, and Jessica owns him. Like, I don't think anywhere in the movie did they say that she was a skilled fighter.
I think he was testing her, though.
If he was testing her, then why would... Because the other guy, the African-American guy who fought Paul as the mom's champion or whatever, he wanted to challenge the mom.
Yeah.
Because she was now, I guess, considered or seen as the strongest in the group, and I guess they have this mentality as the strongest lead. And in my mind, I'm thinking...
It was... Okay, if he wasn't testing her, I think he was also caught extremely off guard. Like for example, if you think someone is so weak and not a threat, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna kill her, and all of a sudden, like, holy shit, like, I think she surprised him. That, like, she's not as helpless as I thought. You know, like, I think he may have been caught off guard.
I don't know. But then the fact that Paul fights another desert person, and he's just toying with him like they're nothing. I mean, kind of makes me wonder, like...
But Paul's had professional training, though. He's had the best of the best train him.
I guess the point I'm trying to get at is, if for Duncan, these people... And Duncan is supposed to be like an experienced fighter, like a beast of a fighter. And for Paul and his mom to, like, easily just like, oh, you're nothing. It's like, come on. It's like, I expected more of a fight from them.
Okay.
And it just made me kind of, like, see the character of Duncan in a different light. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're just weak sauce after all. Like, I mean, if these guys can take on them without breaking a sweat, and you almost died, what does that say about your character?
Well, to be fair with Duncan, like, we don't exactly, like, he may have been fighting a whole bunch of them, you know? And for him to say, like...
No, he did say that he encountered the one, and that they fought. And that's why it kind of got me thinking, like, yeah, maybe this kid could have kicked your ass too. I mean...
Although he did kill a lot of people by himself.
Because for him, it was like, oh, it's like I almost didn't make it alive. For Paul, it was like, oh no, I totally would have made it out alive. It's that guy who would have never made it out alive.
Or maybe we just like Paul's a lot stronger than we thought. Because remember this. Think about who was training Paul at the beginning. His dad's right-hand man, the most trusted guy, the one with the scar. He was the one training him personally. And I think he's the one that commands his armies. So you got, like I said, you got the best of the best training Paul. So that one I can excuse. The mom, we don't really know much about her. Besides the whole voice thing, so...
On the plus side, though, I do like that she doesn't only have to rely on that, vocal power of her.
Right, and she was, I guess, worthy to marry the Duke, so that's got to have some.
They weren't married.
Or not married, but like, have his favor. Like,
yeah,
she was his woman, basically.
His lady.
Yeah.
So what about you? Did you have any gripes with the movie? Those were the only two I had.
And I mean, and I guess like fair enough. It's like, oh come on, I thought these people were gonna be great fighters, and they were kind of pushovers at the end. Like, oh, I can see that. Yeah, the voice thing, yeah, it was a little like
cringe.
Kill him, right? Like, murder him. Yeah, it was a little. It was a little weird, but yeah, those are kind of small things.
Yeah.
Did I have gripes about the movie?
Take that as a no. If you gotta think about it.
I mean, they're all not really. Not something to actually flat out say I didn't like this.
That's good.
I mean, I would have liked to see a little bit more action, but the fact that it's like, I don't know. Plus, and like the actors at this, like they were good. Overall, but again, not really anything I can complain about too much.
And
pretty
that's
solid.
how great of a movie it was.
It
With
was
all
overall
gripes,
solid.
I thought it was better than The Fellowship of the Ring, and because they're both long movies, they both have action here and there, not overly seasoned with action, but just like, hey, here's a fight scene. Here's a fight scene. Very exposition driven, but I felt like Dune for me was just more enjoyable. I like this world better than the Lord of the Rings world.
Well, they're worlds
yeah.
for Dune.
But it's definitely a good movie. Definitely a movie you all should watch. I would highly recommend it. I'm more than sure this guy would recommend it.
Definitely recommend
and
it.
Have you guys seen it?
100% recommend it.
Let us know what you guys thought. Let us know in those comments.
So, rating 1 out of 10?
Oh, I give that a 10. Easy. 10. Without even a question.
Yeah.
Or without even a doubt, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I can't... Quite honestly, when it comes down to a rating, it's not so much as how good it was, it's can you find anything wrong with it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the question you need to ask yourself more than anything is, what was wrong with it? And quite honestly, my gripes are so small that I can't give a point off. I have to give it a 10.
Yeah. Well, those are our ratings, people. And, well, it's time for us to go. This video is running kind of late, and we're sorry about that.
Yeah, it's about to hit half an hour.
But thank you for joining us, for hearing us ramble about this movie known as Dune.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. Again, not for everybody. If you're looking for like super action-packed, this isn't the movie. You're not going to find it in this movie.
Yeah.
A lot of talking, a lot of politics.
So watch The Expendables if that's what you want.
Right. Anyway.
Yeah. Till next time, I am the clueless one. That is...
I am Nathurow.
The Nathurow. And please come back to the Oasis.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, geez. Old
There
age.
you go.
Old age.
There we go. You're older. The entertainment Oasis. Peace
Adios.
out. The Nathurow.
The
Kind of
Nathurow.
like that.
The Nathurow.